Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining Kivu Consulting today. My name is Lauren Johnson, and I'm hosting our coffee break today. Joining me are Dominic Perullo and Nick Steinman out of the New York office. Over the next several weeks, Kivu will be hosting a series of video blogs to help bring awareness to everyday computer users and what they can do to better protect themselves from potentially malicious threats. With that, I want to start with phishing emails. This is something that has been around for many years and most likely won't go away anytime soon. In the cybersecurity profession, we do see an uptick in phishing campaigns where the attackers prey on vulnerabilities such as COVID-19. Dom and Nick, do you have any security recommendations for our viewers today on phishing emails and what they could do or look out for?
Sure, but hey Dom, why do you never accept friend requests from people in the meat industry?
I don't know. Why, Nick?
Because it could be spam. But in all seriousness, the FBI's Crime Complaint Center claims that people lost $57 million due to phishing emails in 1 year. Phishing emails look like they come from a trusted company. These are your banks, social networking sites, streaming services, business software services, and more. Their emails might say, there's a problem with your account. You're eligible for a refund. Attached is an invoice or click here for some free stuff. So what do you need to look for? One thing you should look for are general salutations with a lack of intimacy, such as dear valued customer or dear user, or something incorporating your username like DangerDom123 instead of your forename. Or you could even look for a lack of salutation altogether. Some other things you could look for are grammatical errors like spelling mistakes and contractions. So we know that a professional email will be well written with minimal grammatical mistakes. If they're requesting sensitive information via email or text, check out and make sure that they're not looking for things for you to update your address or even verify your social security number.
I like your username, Nick. DangerDom123. Yeah, but I know going back to your grammatical errors and spelling mistakes, that's the reason why we can see that is because a lot of times these emails are coming from people that aren't even in the US and don't speak English. So they're coming from foreign countries and they're using translators to translate, well, from their language to ours, which is why it doesn't make sense a lot of times. Our phishing emails, it's very easy to avoid this compromise. It's easy to be compromised. It happens so often, but it's just very easy to avoid this just by making everyone aware. And this is very often the root cause of compromises. Through our experiences, we do see very often a client will receive a phishing email. It could say like an invoice or something like that, which they click on a link or they open an attachment. And by doing this, the malware becomes downloaded to straight to the computer and can spread throughout the network. Common form of malware that we see is remote TED, which are banking Trojans. And besides the fact these are banking Trojans and they can spread throughout the network very, very easily and collect credentials, they can also lead to a bigger threat, which is ransomware.
Absolutely. And another thing to keep in mind is that genuine emails will use genuine domains. You're not going to see legitimate emails from addresses like customer service at yourbank45.com. Another thing to keep in mind is, or to even look at is, are you looking at the full email address? You could also look for things like an external banner to alert you that this email is from an external source.
Yeah, and to add to that, for anyone who doesn't know what an external banner is, that's just alerting you that an email is coming from an outside source. So say you get an email from someone who's not in your company, it will alert in the header, in the subject, it'll say external. So that could be a good way to make people more aware to phishing emails, because if someone spoofs your CEO, sends an email to you, in the header or in the subject, it will say external. And going back to your other point about the domain names, I know personally I receive a lot of emails to my personal email account, a lot of times coming from Apple or Amazon. I'm sure a lot of people see that very often too. And a lot of times they'll say, my account was locked, my Apple ID was locked, and you click on this ID to unlock my account. But I can determine that's false pretty quickly because I just log into my Apple ID and I'm able to sign into my account. So it's kind of suspicious there.
Absolutely. And another thing to keep in mind is that legitimate emails from legitimate companies don't coerce you to use their website. Your trusted companies will also never send you unexpected attachments. These institutions will not send you emails containing attachments right out of the clear blue. Lastly, does the external link match the email address domain? So before clicking a hyperlink, it's best practice to hover over that link and see where it takes you. Some other things to consider is there anything off about the spelling of the company? Is the company the first thing observed in the hyperlink? Furthermore, does the hyperlink read HTTP or HTTPS?
Yeah, I'm not unsure what you can always do if you get an email, say, from your bank. You can just go to this legitimate website and log in that way.
And speaking of HTTP and HTTPS, are you both able to explain to our viewers what the differences are there?
Absolutely. So you know that every website you navigate to will most likely have one of these protocols. You can tell the type of protocol by simply clicking at the beginning of the web address and looking for an S or no S. Furthermore, you can tell you're using a secure protocol by looking for a little padlock symbol. Depending on your browser, this could be right next to the hyperlink or at the top or bottom corners of your web browser.
Yeah, and to emphasize the importance between HTTPS and HTTP, the difference is if you're logging in something through HTTP, you're sending out, well, over the network in plain text. So an actor, if they're in the middle, intercept the network traffic, they can see your credentials. If it's HTTPS, it's encrypted, so they're not able to see that.
Another big topic, and kind of going back to your point, Dom, is passwords. Do you have any tips on keeping your passwords secure that you would like to share with our viewers today that you think may be helpful?
Sure. Well, first, it's recommended by security experts that use passphrases, such as something like, I love cookies. And while using a passphrase, be sure to substitute letters with special characters such as an exclamation mark for an I or a $sign for an S.
Yeah, you could also incorporate multi-factor authentication. So a lot of people may be familiar with getting a text message or an email. Another more secure way you could do is download an app, an authenticator app, such as Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator. And what happens is when you sign in, you enter your credentials, it'll ask you to input, say, 6 numbers from your Authenticator app to confirm that it's you.
Absolutely. And Dom, you're referring to something that you have. Another thing you could use is something you are. This type of authentication has been around for quite some time, but we've never really seen it as widely used as we do today. This is the scanning of your iris or your face or even your thumbprint. Think of your iPhone. So combining something you know, something you have, and something you are is called multi-factor authentication and is strongly recommended by cybersecurity professionals that you check out the security section of your favorite website to see what options are available to you.
And just to kind of tie all of this together, what about storing passwords? I know it's very recommended that you don't repeat passwords across multiple platforms. Do you have any recommendations on how to properly store those?
Sure, Lauren. First and foremost, we certainly don't recommend you writing down passwords on a sheet of paper. If you do that, you're basically putting the front door key under the welcome mat. So consider using a password manager like Dashlane or 1Password, LastPass, or even Apple Keychain.
Yeah, and why this is important is they can store all your passwords in one location, but they'll also be in an encrypted state instead of writing it down where anyone could just open it up and see. It also, another benefit is if you're using the same password for different sites, it can alert you of that, so you can change your passwords so you don't use different ones for different sites.
Well, Dom and Nick, thank you both for your time this afternoon. This information was very insightful. And thank you to everybody who tuned in and listened to the blog this week. Please feel free to reach out to Kivu Consulting team if you have any questions or security concerns. But with that, see you all next week.
Thank you.
Thanks.